So today, let's talk about geocalling or geo door knocking and the numbers behind it, because I think you're going to be amazed at what these numbers look like and how much money you actually make per hour. So on another podcast, I'm going to get into the strategies and the scripting of geocalling and geodoors. But look at this. If you spend 2 hours a day, 2 hours a day, either calling using a dialer or door knocking, you're probably going to get a hold of about 8 contacts per hour. And if you did it 2 hours a day, you're going to have 16 contacts. And if we have 16 contacts a day, we're going to have 80 contacts per week. And if we work 50 weeks of the year, taking Christmas and Thanksgiving off, we'll have 4,000 contacts by consistently doing this activity. Now, if we think about the average neighborhood, for some reason on the West Coast, it's about 1 out of every 15 houses sell. And on the East Coast, it's about 1 out of 10 houses to sell. We know that it's 1 out of 15 or 1 out of 10. We can say that if you talk to 60 people, you're going to get somebody, as long as you had good rapport and great conversation, you're going to get a yes. See, not everybody that's going to sell this year knows that they're going to need to sell. For example, they don't know they're having a baby, divorce, getting a job, relocation. But if we know if we have enough contacts, we're going to get a yes. And for the numbers here, I'm going to use 60. So if we have 4,000 contacts in a year and we have 60 contacts per sale, that comes to 67 sales. And now let's just look at it. If you're making, and depending on your area and what your commission rates are and et cetera, I'm just going to use $10,000. You can input your own number. If you're making $10,000 a sale and had 67 sales, you'd make $670,000 a year by talking to 16 people a day. Now let's backwards, because this is where it becomes very fascinating. At least I find it fascinating. So if we take 670,000 and we divide it by 50 weeks, we're going to come up with $13,400 a week. And that's what you would make per week. Now let's divide that by 5 days. And 5 days is $2,680 a day. So what is that per hour? You're going to make $1,340 per hour. But here's the amazing thing. Think about this. You had 8 contacts. You're going to get paid $167 for everybody that has a conversation with you. If they hang up the phone, they slam the door, which hardly ever happens. But if that's the case, you made $167. You get $167 for every no. Now, if I was to stand next to you and I had a whole pocket full of money and I gave you $167 every time somebody answered the phone, would you make your phone calls? You probably would. Would you door knock for $167 for every conversation? Well, you probably would. But yet, that's what we make when we actually set up 2 hours a day in prospecting. That's amazing numbers, but that's realistic. That's an example of geo calling or geo door knocking. Thanks for watching. This is David Thompson. David Thompson 360 podcast can be found at any of your podcast players or at davidthompson360.com.